Good morning. We're glad you're with us this morning. Our discussion topic this morning is simplicity. And if we're not careful, we will make a complicated discussion on simplicity.
Yeah, because humans complicate everything.
Everything.
Especially Americans. We are very
Oh.
complicated people.
Right.
I hope people listen today. I hope you're going to stick with us. And
This is convicting. Everything we've been talking about last week, the week before today, is controversial because it goes against the grain
Yeah.
of our human nature.
yeah,
And
we should probably do better about talking about like the eclipse and
or my garden.
or your. Well, we could really get more views, couldn't we?
But yet, coming down to the complicated human and understanding that God has intervened
yeah,
and saved us for purpose and for our well-being, and yet taking this very gift of God and corrupting it by materialism, consumerism, all kinds of things that rob us of this wonderful opportunity of relationship.
yeah. And you said a minute ago. I'm sorry, our answering machine's going off at church.
I can hear
okay,
it.
okay, yeah, it's driving me nuts. Okay, see, okay, so you said earlier that God, we have a God who is simple, straightforward, right?
Right.
I mean, he's not complicated. He doesn't have a complicated demonstration of himself or his word, but humans tend to complicate the simplicity of God.
Very definitely. He is total freedom, total peace, total contentment.
Yeah.
And yet he says to us, Hebrews chapter 12, lay aside every weight
Yeah.
that hinders us. And
Yeah.
I believe that simplicity speaks to the weight
Yeah.
removal.
Didn't the early American Puritans and the religious people, they used the word cumber,
Oh, yes.
right? That you're encumbered.
That's where we get the word encumbered, because that means that we are distracted,
Yeah.
and that we have barnacles.
Yeah, we have weights. We carry weights around.
We're carrying weight, and a very, very good word, but it's fell out of usage.
Yeah, but and they tried to simplify their life, and so did the transcendentalists and in the early American. They Emerson worked for simplicity. In fact, I quoted Emerson in our title: simplicity,
Right.
simplicity, simplicity.
Right.
Right. So
Well, and then the Shakers had a song. Simplicity is freedom.
a gift to
Freedom is a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a gift to be simple. It's a gift to
It's
be
a
free.
gift to be simple.
Yeah.
And they were,
Yeah.
to an extent.
Yeah.
But they were still encumbered.
Oh, sure.
Because they're
sure.
human beings.
Sure.
We tend to encumber ourselves.
Yeah.
But let's look at the what does it mean to walk in simplicity? It's to be uncomplicated. It is to be untangled, to focus on what really matters. Now, that's from the Spiritual Disciplines Handbook by Adele Calhoun. I really like that. To uncomplicate, to untangle. Let's go to the scripture this morning. Philippians 4. Now, there are many scriptures that we could have used, but this one, I think, says it all. Paul, the apostle, writes, verse 11, not that I was ever in need, for I've learned how to be content with whatever I have.
Yeah.
I know how to live on almost nothing, or with everything. I've learned the secret of living in every situation, whether it's with a full stomach or empty, with plenty or little. Now, here's the secret.
Yeah, here's the kicker.
Here it is. For I can do everything through Christ who gives me strength.
Most of the time, when we look at that Philippians 4:13, we pull it out of that context.
Yes, we do.
And we make it about our own individual efforts or our success in life, when it's really about being content and simple.
Right, and having a relationship uncomplicated
Yeah.
with the Father and with Christ and
Yeah.
with the Holy Spirit. The thing here, for I can do everything through Christ who gives me strength, comes from his contentment.
Yep.
That's how he.
But that's how he found contentment. The contentment, and contentment is probably the foundational element of simplicity.
Yes.
Okay, so to be content is you don't need more stuff,
No.
or you don't need more accolades or whatever. But contentment here, he says his contentment is found in the fact that Christ is the one who is the source.
Right. And Adele Calhoun defines simplicity simply as the art of letting go,
Yeah.
of setting aside the attachments that we have, what we own, what we have. And the result is, and this is great, rather than being a horrible thing, in simplifying, we find freedom
Yeah.
and generosity.
Yeah, yeah, and freedom and generosity is big. I mean, I think that our world wants that. I think the world sees it. We see a lot of people wanting to take care of the poor, wanting to take care of the homeless, and these things are very virtuous. But the way to it, I believe, and the way to be more effective at it is to be simple.
You know, when the rich young ruler came to Jesus, Jesus, it says he loved
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
And he said, what's the commandments?
yeah,
Boy, he rattled them
yeah.
all.
Sure,
And I've kept them from my youth.
he kept them.
Now, Jesus said, man, fantastic.
Yeah,
Now, one more thing for you to do. Sell everything you have and come follow me. And he went away sorrowing
yeah.
because he could not grasp life without his possession.
And I wonder if that's probably the problem sometimes with us. I mean, even talking right now, you may be tempted to go ahead and turn us off today,
Yeah.
because there is a compulsion in our life to have things. We live in a very materialistic cesspool, and you and I were talking, and it's probably
I love that. Carry on.
well, a toilet, is that better?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so anyway, and we're going to talk. I think this is the point which we should talk about. Consumerism, marketing, materialism from a standpoint that I don't think the world lets us be content.
No.
Right?
No. See, the whole idea of Madison Avenue advertising is to create a need in us
Yeah.
that we might not have,
Yeah.
and to exploit that
Yeah. Sure.
to have us buy and sell.
Yeah.
I mean, buy.
Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More than sell. And that whole thing flows from the idea of I have something. They have something that I need that I didn't know I had needed.
Yeah, and then you get into the what I don't watch a whole lot of regular TV, but when I do, I get irritated at commercials that say you deserve a new flat screen. This is the flat screen TV you deserve. And so we're constantly being bombarded. If we put our minds into the world, we're constantly being bombarded by the messages. You don't have enough. You need more.
Right.
You don't have the best. You don't have the new.
And this is all summed up in consumerism.
Yeah, yeah.
The idea that we are consumers and that we use what others are trying to sell. But now this is a sad thing, because there's this constant bombardment of need that produces an addiction for us for the new.
Yeah.
And we get dissatisfied with the old, and we search for the best deal, and this flows over. This becomes a mental problem.
Yeah.
Because it flows over into our relationships, into our marriages, into our work relationships, and it flows into the church.
Yeah.
and people church shop
Yeah.
today. That was not a word that
That's
that
interesting.
has been coined later on. When I first began 60 years ago, no one was a church shopper. They were visitors. Now we have church shoppers.
Wow, that's so interesting I've maintained that we're moving toward a more of a marketing type situation in the church, and that really, I mean, that's you just hit the nail on the head. That implies that we have to put on the show. We have to put the best deal in
Right.
town.
And they go with the idea of who has the best show.
Who has the best show?
And that's why they come, and they don't come back because something they
It didn't fit. It's like going to a restaurant. If it didn't hit your, if it didn't, touch you, didn't move you, didn't meet your needs, or you didn't feel like you got a good deal, you go somewhere else. Buying a car.
let's talk about what that does. That cuts God's call to
Oh, sure.
a specific church out
Yeah, sure.
because we're not listening to him.
Yeah.
We're listening to what would where can we get the best deal
Sure.
rather than God wants us to go where he wants us to go,
So that we may
which I
serve.
believe
Yeah, so that we may serve.
that we may
Yeah.
serve.
But I was thinking also in terms of deals. I get catalogs, and I enjoy getting the catalogs. I like to look at the items, but they always have the deals right on the front page. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly now, I'm no longer satisfied with what I had from that company,
Oh yeah.
right? And I want more. Oh, how about remember the Sears catalog around Christmas time?
Oh, good night. We call that the covet book.
You call it the covet book?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, because that we would look in there again. We were not being bombarded basically
As much.
as much.
As much.
And therefore, when the covet book came, well, we began to look. Your mother would look, see what the clothing, etc. I would always look at tools.
Yeah.
And but now, all I have to do is take this and go whoop, and I'm in
yeah.
the catalog
Sure.
of somebody.
I was watching a MASH episode, and they finally get a catalog, and they
Right.
the whole episode on is everybody getting the catalog so that they could get the items they wanted, and they were actually fighting over the catalog to see who would, you know what I mean? And so we're primed. That was in the 70s.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it was before that.
Yeah. Well,
In the 50s.
50s. Yeah.
See, there, 51, 52, 53, in that range. And, but the catalog, we not only got Sears, we got Monkey Ward.
Yeah.
Yeah, Montgomery Ward.
And J.C. Penney. So you got three.
We got
That
J.C.
came later, but yeah.
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 But they all realized, and they realized this early.
Yeah.
Sears built their whole brand up on catalog.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
because they didn't have brick and mortar places, and therefore they sent the catalog out. You could buy a house.
You buy a house?
Yeah, cars, all kinds of things in the early 1900s, etc.
You could buy a house.
Yeah,
You could also buy a bride, I think.
I don't know about that.
Well, mail order brides.
Mail
remember?
order. Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Boy,
they
you talk about buying a pig in a poke.
or getting a pig in a poke. I don't know.
Yeah.
It depends on. We gotta be fair to the both sides here. Yeah, but so we have what you were reading that guy Nathan Foster. I think you were reading.
Well, I
about-
was reading both Richard and Nathan.
Yeah, but a minute ago you read about it, and he talked about.
That was Nathan.
Yeah, he had to deal with the inner condition that drives my consumerism. I thought that
Yes.
was an interesting statement. He has an inner condition. He had to deal with an inner condition that drives his consumerism.
Now, let's think about that for a moment. How he set about to do this for 1 week. 1 week. He said, I fasted.
Yeah.
Advertisement.
Yeah.
And there was another. But can't
Yeah, I remember what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. But he said, I fasted. And he said, this is what I received. I received freedom.
Yeah, sure.
And he said, contentment and
Yeah.
clarity. We do not realize how this
It's smog.
that it
We're breathing it in. It's
Right.
smog.
And we do not realize how this affects us. The thing that happens is it builds up in our minds for discontentment.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
When I read the Word of God, there is a contentment that comes with that. But when I listen, when I'm bombarded constantly, billboards, etc., anywhere, that builds up a discontent
Yeah.
within me.
Think about the drive. Most of you have driven, maybe. We may be talking to somebody who has never made this drive. When you make the drive from Springfield to Branson, you don't see a whole lot of good scenery because of the.
It's massive.
It's everywhere.
It's massive billboards.
To me, it's eye pollution in a way because you have this wonderful territory. I mean, beautiful country. We flew over it with the Garms boy. Yeah, he took us on a plane, and what a beautiful countryside.
Oh my goodness!
Right.
You when you get up above it, you can see that.
Yeah, yeah. But down in the midst of it, here's a good illustration. If you're up above it, you can see the beauty. See.
Yeah.
We're always preachers always look for
go
illustration,
to
don't we? Okay.
Yeah.
So down in the midst of it, you can't. You're bombarded by shows, theme parks, stores, all kind food.
Yeah. And because of that, by the time we get there, we will go eat. Well, you said You said it. The covert kind of advertising, going into Silver Dollar City, and smelling the baking bread.
Yeah, That's not
I
an accident.
never get past.
That's it. It's they did that on purpose.
Yeah,
it's a perfect thing. You haven't eaten yet.
Right.
Everybody loves this.
And I've been reading all these signs.
Yeah.
I come in. Let's talk about television.
Yeah.
From 4 o'clock till 8 o'clock.
Food. There was a movie made in the 80s called They Live. It was a John Carpenter movie. And the idea was that the earth had been possessed by aliens they looked like humans. But there was subliminal messages all over the place. And this guy finds these glasses that he can see all this. And all the messages on the billboards and the magazines are consume, obey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The people can't see that.
No.
But that's the idea. And I feel like that was a good social commentary on marketing and how, everything is to consume, eat, buy, purchase.
Back in the 60s, we had the movie houses. The movies were flashing.
Yeah.
Eat popcorn.
Oh, yeah. They had to stop that. They made them stop
subliminal messages.
Yeah. There was you couldn't see them.
No.
But they
it
would.
It was within the blink of an eye.
Yeah. And it would be like somebody enjoying popcorn. They made that illegal.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, they made it illegal, which
right.
I wonder how often that is still. I mean, how do you catch that?
How the covert messages that we give. What was it? The 80s. They talked about backmasking.
Yeah, the
things,
music,
tapes, and records.
I saw a thing on advertising where these companies will go out and they will take pictures of people in parks and stuff, and they'll find out what's trending, what's going, and they use a lot of youth. If you look at a lot of your commercials, like not your commercials dealing with older things, like AARP or whatever those things, but
right.
most of your commercials are young people at a certain age group because that's the ones that have the money. So they're not targeting you sometimes. No. They're targeting the people who have the money, which are kids.
Now, let's go on MeTV. MeTV.
Okay.
That's
a
channel.
Yeah.
Or Cozy TV. Any of these kind of small thing. AARP.
Yeah.
You're going to have the phones.
With the big numbers.
No, like this one. Then they're going to insurance, final insurance, burial insurance.
Oh my goodness.
Medicare Advantage plan.
They know their audience.
They know their audience. They know that young people aren't watching that. It's the Ancient of Days.
Maybe we got to do that. Maybe we got to throw some commercials in. Go to church. Go to Bible.
They may turn us off anyway. I mean,
Okay, so he said something about the consumerism as a drug.
it's a drug.
Yeah, that's what I thought was interesting. That was a good.
And when you think about it, as any drug, you know that it begins small and then becomes
Life all
well,
consuming.
you have
all
to
consuming.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
my drug of choice.
Oh!
But comes down
Not
to
coffee. Not coffee.
no, it's the caffeine. When you come down to needing more and more and more,
Yeah.
this is people. Shopping becomes an absolute
Yeah.
obsession.
Yeah, yeah,
Or like at one time, I wanted the newest technology.
yeah.
They would come out with a new phone, and my phone would suddenly
You start-
become.
Start drooling.
Yeah, this cup does something to me.
No. I was talking about when the new
Oh,
thing
well, I'm
comes out.
drooling, all right,
No,
yeah.
when the new item comes out, you start like drooling
Oh,
because of the new
yeah,
item.
yeah, because and then
I wasn't saying you were drooling.
well, I am.
I'm sorry.
This cup is kind of different in the.
I went to tell Bethel. She made it.
Well, yeah, I know, and I wouldn't.
No, I
care.
wasn't saying you
wouldn't
were
care
drooling.
if I was throwing up. I would drink out of.
I
this
was
cup.
saying when the new iPhone came out, you were drooling.
Oh,
Before
definitely.
the new, okay, yeah.
Definitely.
Pavlov's dog. They ring the bell and you
Oh,
start salivating.
ring the bell, and see that philosophy flows over into everything.
Yeah.
It's not the newest garment, newest fashion. All of that comes down to our complex
Yeah.
desire for wealth, fame,
Power.
power.
So we're gonna look. Let's look at this. Well, let's finish this section and let's take up complication and simplicity in other areas.
Right.
But let's talk about ways for you and I both, because both of us today are convicted of this.
Right.
Okay. So
Right.
how are Frank and Joel? How are we going to curb this in our life where we can be? Because the ultimate goal is right here, that we are focused on what really matters, and of course that's God and family, and our life work with Christ, serving God. Right. So how do we do
Right.
it?
Well, I think as with any making change, there has to be a desire
Yeah.
to change.
Yeah.
And I think the desire is there. The know-how is different. And yet it's not, because the only way we can change is by discipline, by practicing the opposite of what is
Yeah.
bothering us. Now,
So practicing contentment would be the right.
Right.
Is that? I mean,
Right.
contentment in Christ has to be the opposite to the consumerism, right? Is that
right. Well,
because that's what Paul said?
Richard Foster wrote the book, The Freedom of Simplicity.
Fantastic book, by the way. Very difficult,
Very difficult.
but very good if you want to look
Well,
at it. Because
He says in the introduction, he says, many books I came to rejoicing.
Yeah.
I came to them. He said, I was drugged to this one,
Yeah.
kicking and screaming.
oh, absolutely. It's a neat book though, because it looks at simplicity not as a lot of times what people do in simplicity is we look for the opposite, which is poverty, and that's what we think.
no.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's
But
what we
with
think.
that's what
yeah,
we
that
do.
we think. But he says simplicity is the reduction of what we already have. You know what I
Right.
mean? Simplicity is reduction.
The letting go.
Yeah.
The art of letting go.
Like if I have one of something and that's enough, I don't need 10.
Right.
So instead of buying 10, I stay with the one, and then I use that money to be generous or whatever else, or right?
So, a spiritual discipline of simplicity starts with me with a desire
Yeah.
that my life has become too complicated,
Yeah.
that I'm overwhelmed. I have an attic full of things that I
Yeah.
don't use,
Yeah.
or a barn full. The idea is not to buy bigger barns, but to begin to divest yourself of of things, either by giving them
Uh-huh.
in generosity or by using them to help others.
Yeah.
The idea, simplicity kills and denies self.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to use that word kill. It denies self. It kills the desires of self. It says that I'm going to practice giving, letting go, giving, and not putting anything else in.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I think that what we're struggling with in the church, and see if you agree with this, we have reaction to prosperity gospel with almost the poverty gospel. You have these bookends, and I think simplicity falls right in the middle of this.
Right.
It's really a biblical way of, and Richard Foster does this marvelously in this book, looking at simplicity as the biblical way. You know what I mean? Not, you don't have to impoverish yourself to follow God, nor do you have to have millions. But simplicity kind of is the middle road of that.
God has not given all of us the desire or the calling to poverty.
Yeah, I think that there are some, maybe.
There are some, I believe,
yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
And I read accounts of their lives down through the ages, and even today, the modern monastic.
Yeah, but that's a more of a simple life. I mean, they're not starving. I mean, they either make fruit cakes or wine or whatever. Right? Like at Assumption Abbey, we've been there.
We've been there.
They live simple lives.
Very simple life, and eat simple foods, grow them, and but again, it's going to take a desire, and I believe God's placing that desire because He wants more of us.
Yeah.
And He cannot have more of us when we are encumbered.
Sure. I think that what scares people to death is the losing your level of comfort. You know what I mean? I mean, that's what we think about with our economy and with the possibility of, if you think about some of the globalistic ideas of, where people, they don't possess anything and they're happy. That's what the World Economic Forum said. That freaks us out because we surround ourselves with our comfort. I think that comfort is a very dangerous concept. Contentment is different than comfort. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, it is. And comfort and convenience are twins.
No, yeah.
They come together. They're identical twins. And this convenience thing has become almost a god, as has comfort.
Yeah.
Because we worship that, and anyone that offers us more convenience, more comfort, we're going to be following that person no matter their ideology.
I agree. And I'm not saying that it's easy because, when we go to Africa.
Good night, no.
When we go to Africa, I've stayed in some pretty rough places before. But I've also stayed in some regular, simple places. You know what I mean?
Right.
You have a toilet, you have a shower,
Right.
You've got a bed, you don't have a TV, you don't have air conditioning, but there's almost, and you don't have the 24 hours a day news, you don't have the bombardment of the advertisement. And I'm gonna tell you what, it almost releases your mind. You know what I mean? There's almost a sanity almost.
Right. A clarity.
That's the word, clarity. But how do we get that? We get that through contentment.
We get that through contentment, and that is intentional. That is us, first of all, understanding that we can be released from it.
Yeah, and that the prison of it, it's a prison.
Yes.
And I think that it's going to take a long time because I think we're conditioned, especially in America. Well, I mean, since
we are definitely
since the 50s or whatever.
Conditioned.
Yeah.
There's a phenomenon that we witness every July when we see our boys and girls from Greene County go to camp without earbuds, without all of this
Technology.
technology.
No video games.
No.
No.
And what we see is at the end, we have these boys coming up and saying, I want to go deeper with God.
Yeah, yes.
Because
and adults too.
Yeah.
Adults too. That's right. Yes. Wow. And we love it. We absolutely love it.
A retreat might be, if you could do it, a retreat to somewhere simple.
Well, we did. We've done that. You and I've
Yeah.
done that.
Right. And we only stayed a day, 2 days, a night. But yet, it was an amazing experience. I know. But what we need is the desire, and
Yeah.
God places the desire. And then to the practices would be of the discipline is letting go
Yeah.
of things that we do not need.
Yeah. You know, I'm thinking about boys camp, and I'm thinking about you have almost perfect strangers at the first part of the week. They go through worship together. They play games together. They hear preaching. They go to Bible teaching. They don't have phones. They don't have game systems, and yet you see them at the end, and they're almost like they're lifelong friends. You know what I mean? They're buddies, and you see them walking each other. They're, you know what I mean? And even young men, you know. And I think you're right. I think that the focus is absolute on God, and there is a feeling in the air, a spirit in the air, that really makes changes in these kids' lives. But then they go right back into the cesspool. They go right back into the world, and
We've actually had boys cry that they had to go home
yeah,
because of the terribleness of their home.
well, and I think that we've had boys that have good homes cry
Yeah.
because they don't want to leave that spirit on
had.
that
Right.
yeah. And we've seen this with youth. You take youth to the remember what were those things that we go to in the Southern Baptist. Anyway, we go to them for a weekend or whatever, and you come back and the kids
Down
are
at SBU, we had
yeah, but they'd also go to Hannibal LaGrange. We
Right.
go up there to Joy something or other.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
joy explosion.
something like that. Yeah. Is that it? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you would know. Okay, you got the mind of okay. Of a 12-year-old, but the memory, the focus is that on Christ, and you come back and you're ready to throw out all your rock and roll. You're ready to, you know what I mean? You're ready to hang
Right.
it all up and serve
Right.
Christ. Go on the mission field. Get back into school. Kabam, baby. Boom, gone.
Well, that we can see that in summer when kids are at home and they're not exposed to they become free.
Free, yeah. Yeah, Mom used to say there was a school Joel and a non-school Joel.
Summer.
Summer Joel. Okay, so we can't get out of the world all the
No,
time. You can't
no.
go to boys camp for the
No.
rest of your life. You can't. Some people aren't called to the monastery. I think some are. Some aren't.
No.
So
No.
how do we do it? How do we live a monastery life in the toilet?
Again, how do you eat an elephant?
What?
How do you eat an elephant?
Oh, one bite.
One
at a
bite
time.
at a time. Now, I believe it would begin with fasting of
yeah.
certain things.
Yes, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I've already decided I'm going to do that.
Because, well, now, your physiology.
Not food.
will-
Yeah,
right,
no.
you
I've
can't
already
do
got.
food. But here,
Yeah, but
you
this-
could put this aside.
Oh.
It's hard for a pastor to do that.
What?
Fast the phone.
I mean, just make this a phone.
Right.
Right? I mean,
Right.
this is not going. I mean, you don't watch YouTube. What I'm talking about is this entertainment. This because I could fast food, but I could go home and look at Facebook or go home. But food is not going to make the difference.
No.
I need to I need to get out of the toilet. Is what I'm trying
Right.
to say. Food is
And-
not going to get me out of the toilet.
Not watching television.
Not watching television.
I've known people that have literally taken the television out and threw it out in the front yard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know where.
I don't know. Well, I mean,
I don't
I've
know
got
whether
other
we
humans in my
advocate.
home.
But you could unplug it.
Yeah, I mean, but there's got to be some kind of Okay, so you begin with the fasting discipline, but I think in that fasting discipline, you got to learn different habits,
Right.
right? We got to habituate some different way.
Well, like Nathan Foster, not buying,
Yeah,
not going, not looking, not buying. Put a moratorium on gathering possessions.
yeah. I've already made a decision to cancel the catalogs I get.
Right.
I'm gonna.
See, this is a first step. And again, limit your exposure
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, and I think that maybe this is a word of counsel, a word of wisdom is don't try to eat the whole elephant at first.
No.
So don't
One bite.
Yeah. So don't sell your home and go live in a cave
Or a monastery.
or a monastery. Start with one simple thing,
Right.
right? Try to start simplifying your life one bite at a time. Right?
Right.
Is that's kind of would be the smart thing to do, because what's going to happen is you're going to a week you're going to be great, and then you're going to get a catalog in the mail or whatever, or you're going to have to, it's like trying to fast and be a social person. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get invited to dinner,
Right.
and you're going to have to either make the decision to eat or tell people you're fasting. Right?
Yes, I felt a need to diet.
Yeah.
And my diet was going to consist of no soda, no sugar, less salt. And that was the week before Easter.
Yeah. Or trying to diet before Christmas.
Oh,
Right. I mean, yeah. Something like that. So
crash.
you
You set yourself up for failure
Yeah.
right there.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You have to discern the times
Yeah.
and the timing
Yeah.
and what will work. Don't defeat yourself coming in.
I would think probably start with easy things
Yes.
first. Wouldn't
Right.
you?
Right.
Small
And-
victories, easy victories, something that is. Don't try to take the big one first.
No, work into it. I was reading the testimony of a man that had studied the giants of the faith, and that many of them got up before dawn, some at 4 a.m. And he decided, I think that was Chuck Swindoll actually,
It was also,
decided
it was also
that
Joel
while he's
Childers.
in college, school, that he was going to get up at 4 a.m. and pray.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried that for a while, but then boom,
Boom.
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 Yeah, it doesn't work.
Well, and it leaves you with a sense of defeat, and it leaves you with a sense of almost like a what is it where you disparity, where you say I can't do it, so I'm going to quit.
Right.
Instead of just taking simple things first, maybe like me, I'm going to cancel those catalogs today. I don't need those catalogs. I end up just looking at them and becoming discontent what I have, and so easy little steps, right?
I believe, the Apostle Paul did not have a salary. He was living by faith, as we call it. And people are afraid to live by, or to decide to live by faith, because they do not believe that God will allow them to retain the lifestyle
Yeah.
they're used to.
Yeah.
That they could not. It won't work because my lifestyle. I like my comfort and convenience.
Sure.
And if I live by faith, I may not. But see, what is that? That's an insult to our God.
Yeah.
For our God says, "I will
Yeah.
take care of you."
And you may end up in that situation anyway. This sometimes we think that this life will continue on. I tell young people all the time that, see, when you're 20 or something, you think life is always going to be like this.
Right.
It's not the case.
No.
Life is not. You could have $1 million socked away in your savings, and you get a stroke, and you're sitting in a nursing home, and that money's just going monthly, bing. So there's no guarantees that your level of comfort is going to be there,
Right.
right? You
And
could
I
lose
think-
your job tomorrow.
Now, what we tend to do is that we say, "Okay, it may be that way.
Yeah.
Therefore, I've got to
Oh.
To maintain my level of lifestyle, I have to make provision. So that puts a deeper burden on us because now we're making per, for when we get old.
Okay, and so when God says give, you don't give because you won't have it if you.
That's right. Yes. See, we've left out Malachi's. Open.
Yeah,
Trust
yeah.
me. Try me. Test me. Open. If I give, and it shall be given to you. Open up the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing on you.
How about Ecclesiastes? You know, you and I have been on Ecclesiastes.
yeah.
So the Solomon says, he says that you know, it's vanity to sock it away because you're going to die and somebody else is going to
Live on it.
Somebody's going to be wearing your clothes and sleeping in your bed and inhabiting your house. That is that's such a reality. So the conclusion he came up with was fear God and keep His commandments.
That's
the summation of it all.
Right.
That's the simplicity of Solomon because he goes through Ecclesiastes and he says all this is vanity. It's fluff. It's empty calories.
Empty. Yes.
Right. It's
Void.
meaningless.
Meaningless. Definitely.
So fear God and keep His commandments. Okay. Hey, let's move on to. We got a little bit of time here, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
We got 20 some minutes here, or 19
Yep.
minutes. So let's talk about complicating simplicity other than money, because some people may be living a simple life financially, economically, but we complicate everything.
Well, yeah. It's not just.
Complicate relationships.
Oh, yeah. And we burden ourselves unnecessarily
Yeah.
because we do not allow God to flush us, cleanse us, and move us in our work,
Yeah.
in our relationships, in everything that we have. We are complicated people, and we use that as an excuse for living a complicated life when God says, let me help you with
Yeah.
this.
I learned this about probably 2010 or so. Christy and I went to Cancun on a vacation. And so we paid for the resort, but we didn't have enough money for the other amenities.
Right.
So we ended up sitting on the beach for 6 days. The best vacation ever.
Ever.
So I begin to realize that I have overcomplicated vacations in the past
Ooh,
with activity.
right.
You know, when I came back from that vacation, I was rested, tanned, and
Right.
rested. And so now and I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm saying I try not to overcomplicate my vacay,
Right.
right? Because I'm trying to vacate. My life is complicated as a pastor just because of the busyness of a pastor.
Right.
When I go on vacation, I don't want to have complication.
Right.
You know what I mean? I want to be chilled out. Now that's my personality. Some people you might find comforting doing excursions and going out. I don't find that comforting. I find it complicated. But I think that there's a lot of things that we complicate that we need that should be rest. In other words,
The people I talk to that have gone on vacations come back tired. Come back. There has been absolutely no change.
yeah,
Vacation ought to be that of relaxation.
yeah,
It ought to be a time when your mind is clear.
yeah,
It ought to be a time when you reconnect with your family and
Yeah.
others that are with you. It ought to be a time of meditation.
yeah.
We-
Refreshment.
in 2017, July, Jeanette and I went to Dustin,
Yeah,
down in Florida.
Yeah.
Sat on the beach and soaked up sun. She would get in the water. I'm not excited about water. And I read through a commentary on the book of Jude.
wow.
And we flew down,
Yeah,
we flew home,
nah.
and we were rested.
Yeah, yeah, and I think sometimes we complicate our activities in that. You know, I think about we complicate vacations, we complicate holidays, we complicate work. I mean, it's like we live in these complex lives, and I wrote down the word busyness.
Oh, good night. Yes.
I hate that I have to tell people I'm too busy. I hate that. If you're too busy to be with God, you're too busy.
Right. And if people need us, of course, that's why we're busy many times.
Yeah.
Is the overwhelming
Yeah.
need of people. But I hate busyness
Yeah.
because busyness issues in laziness.
Yeah.
Because I'm so busy, I can't do. Therefore, I won't do.
Yeah. I think that also we have a shutdown mode. Yes, when things are too complicated, what happens is that because we're so overwhelmed, we have a shutdown mode that actually causes more damage because we have an activity. We've got this
Mindset.
event. We have an event. We have an event ahead of us. Okay, whether it be a holiday, vacation, or a deadline, and so we're pushing and we're consumed. I think about poor little Bethel right now, trying to get all her stuff done for her art show on Friday.
Right.
And there's a point at which you just don't care anymore.
No.
You know what I mean? And you went, and I'm not saying Bethel isn't, I'm just saying that's normal. When you complicate things, then suddenly now your energy is lost.
Right.
Your passion is lost. Right?
Right. And it's all because it flows out of busyness. And that is pandemic.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I read Bethel.
And people that are not busy feel like they're not doing anything.
Yeah, they feel like, yes. They feel like they're, yes.
It's all about production.
Yes. Yeah.
You were talking Sunday about buildings, budgets, attendance, etc. People were looking toward the pastor, looking toward everyone. Your reason for existence is tied in what you do and what you produce.
Yeah.
And if you're not producing, get out of the way and let somebody that is come in.
Yeah, and that is Western. That is American culture, and it's sad because it bleeds into everything. But you look at the point at which, Bethel showed me this funny cartoon on Sunday, and got two people talking, and one of them says, "Do what you love, and eventually, because you've done it so long,
I saw that one.
Did you?
You'll love what you do.
Yeah. No. This says love if you love what you do for your job, then it'll become so tedious and so overwhelmed that you'll end up hating what you once loved.
Oh, well, now that's probably true.
Isn't it?
Now that's truer than the what I just said.
Yeah.
But see, the philosophy is love what you do. You'll love your.
Yeah. And sometimes.
But yet, I see that I think that must have been the one I saw, but I see that as being reality.
Yeah. Okay. Think about you and me. Okay. There was a point in our ministries, and I think that preaching has changed in my life because I used to get my jollies. I used to get my self-esteem and my self-worth from my preaching.
Right.
Okay. And so I had to preach.
Right.
Right. I got burnt. I got burned out. Didn't want to preach anymore. Hated preaching. Right. Now I come and I sat for 5 years, and I received from you for 5 years, which is wonderful. I learned to listen. But now preaching has a different connotation to it. It has a different. I don't have to have it. I don't love it like I once did. Right. Does that make sense?
Sure.
And I think that cartoon is right. I think that people, because we're consumed with these ideas, we complicate what we love, and we actually end up killing what we love.
Yeah. And whereas with simplicity says slow down. Slow down. Think. And decide. I think with simplicity there is a decision that is made. Is this what I want? Is this what God wants?
Yeah.
There has to be a decision where what I'm buying, what I'm using my mind for, everything.
Yeah, I agree.
Is this what God wants in my relationship? Is this what only I want?
Yeah.
See, discipleship is denying self. I think simplicity is denying self.
Absolutely.
In all areas of my life.
Yeah, even those areas that maybe what I would say kind of fall through the cracks as far as like I think there's some things in life that are permissible that God allows us to have. I mean, I don't think that there's maybe a cosmic will with it. You know, not a cosmic will, but you know, like God said, do this. I think that there are things that God allows. There's permissible things like owning a car.
Right.
I don't think that there's either God's will or God's opposing.
Right.
Right.
And
Right.
really,
Do you see what I'm saying?
we don't even have to ask.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
okay.
these are things, they are, now that can become God.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's what
They're
that's the point I'm trying to make.
to
Yeah.
use. And as long as we use them righteously,
Yeah.
as tools, but when they obsess,
Yeah.
when we obsess with them,
Yeah.
and they come between everything, God and everything else, then we've lost simplicity.
That was my point.
Well,
That,
good.
you articulated my point well,
Good
because
again. Say it again.
no, well, I mean you because there's things that we need to get God's counsel for, absolutely, and then there are things we
Right.
already know, like
Right.
if I'm not looking for another wife because that
No.
right.
No, because
Plus, my wife would kill me, but anyway, right? But I'm not looking for another wife
right,
because that's adultery.
right,
So that's a decision already made. I don't ask God.
Right.
Then there are things that I ask God about, right? And then there are things that I think fall through the cracks, like if I own a car. Now, in that crack, right?
yes,
Do I need the car that has all the bells and whistles that's going to cost me $10,000 more for these gadgets that don't really matter? Or, like you said, is it becoming an idol?
status symbol.
Status symbol. Yeah.
So much of what we do is what will people think. I have to have certain status symbols to maintain my slot in the pecking order.
So there's the compulsion of comfort,
Yes,
but there's also a compulsion of I matter.
yes,
So both of those play into consumerism, or consumerism feeds those two things.
right. And
Well, that's kind of psychological stuff.
but true.
Yeah.
This is the thing. Because of what people think, we do a lot because of what people
Yeah,
think.
absolutely.
And we are insincere. We are hypocrites because we do not, because we're trying to appease or have people think better of us. And when we do that, that complicates.
Complicates it.
If we could be just who we are. And I've had people say, if I were who I am, people would not care for me.
Then you need to change.
Yes, but
Yeah,
if
I
it's
understand
never
what you're saying.
been tried,
Yeah, yeah,
you need to ask the Lord, who am I?
yeah,
And help me to come to be that person
yeah,
you designed me for.
yeah.
But I'm gathering that certain people have been hypocrites all their life.
Sure. Well, I think we're conditioned for that just because of what you just said. We want people to like us. We want to matter. We want to be heard, and so we alter our behavior for the people that we're around. Right. And
Well,
right.
Paul said he became all things to all people.
yeah.
And we use that as an excuse
Yeah.
to butter people up.
Yeah. The motive behind it is so key. You know, it can be manipulative, and I think that complicates a lot of relationships. This idea, but there are people who are adverse to truth,
Yes.
and so speaking the truth can be a terrible situation. Here,
Well, speaking truth today can get you in trouble.
yeah. So what would really be cool is if I was responsible for my simplicity. Okay? You're responsible for your simplicity. So therefore, in our relationship, then we're not putting on errors. And I think that you and I have that. I mean, as father and son, I think that we have that unique.
Right.
I think we have a unique relationship. I mean, we work together. There's no jealousy. I don't think there is.
No.
I perceive there's none.
None.
So it works for us in
Mm-hmm.
that, you know what I mean, where we can say things to each other and be truthful. I hope
Right.
you can, because I'm truthful with you.
Yeah.
But in a society, can you imagine a church society where we practice this discipline of simplicity and contentment? that I'm serving and I don't need anything back. I don't need an RO. There's no ROI in it.
No, no. Our satisfaction, our reason for being, our existence, our purpose, our meaning,
Yeah.
all flows from Him.
Yeah.
And when that happens, that frees me to be what He wants me to be.
Yeah. And if you look at a team concept, if everybody is doing their job on the team concept, right? You know, look at a football team. I think there's 11 players on the field. Okay, each one has a certain job to do, and when they do those effectively, without self,
Right.
then they win, right? They accomplish their goal, right? So the same thing is with a church and with a family, your life, a workplace. I think if each one of us practices the simplicity of serving God, right, then I think the mission would be fulfilled sooner.
I think people sometimes want to have our approval
Yeah.
when actually they have it. They don't have to perform.
Yeah.
In Christ, they have our approval, but they work themselves to death. A lot of busyness in church that is not necessary
Yeah.
because your personhood is of value because of who you are in Christ.
And you know what? This is kind of a digression,
Yes, it is.
but what I'm going to talk about is a digression. Is I wonder if our busyness is tied up in the church shopping effort, the marketing,
Right.
that we do things that the you know. Okay. Here. You look at the apostles in Acts the 6th chapter, right? They set up deacons to serve the tables because why? What were they interested in?
That they would have time for the word and
Prayer. So
Prayer.
what is the most important activity of the church?
Prayer.
Prayer. Prayer is the most, but we're so busy we don't have time to pray because we have to put on the market. And I think look at Martha and Mary. You know, Mary
Right.
is at the feet of Jesus. She's learning. Martha's in the kitchen. She's not doing something bad.
No.
Jesus doesn't condemn her,
No.
but Mary has a better part.
Right. Chosen the better part.
That's right. So Martha was serving food, which wasn't bad.
No. And there are need for Mary and Martha, but see this
Timing. It's a time.
Martha needs to be sometime in that
Yeah, in the
teaching
yeah.
relationship.
He said you're worried about many things, right?
Yeah.
And I think worry complicates. There's another thing that complicates is worry. We worry about this. We worry about our children. We worry about our finances. We worry about, and there's another whole nother room in this construction we're doing here of simplicity. You know.
We did not today even touch the surface of simplicity as a spiritual discipline. It is something you're going to have to, if you're interested, go to your concordance, look up the word simplicity.
Yeah.
It's there.
Read Richard Foster, Freedom of Simplicity.
read
I mean,
that.
it's a pretty
Yes.
radical.
Right.
And also you can schedule time with one of us. I mean,
Right.
we'd love to sit down and discuss those issues with you. We like that. That's something we do. Is
Yes.
we meet with people and talk about those items. So
Until next week, we have no idea where we're going next week. We never script these things until the end, or till the beginning. Our pre-talk becomes our talk. And I think that's good. And if we digress, we digress. And we gave it to the Lord. You direct us. And,
and it's something that we're working on, and we're not expecting perfection,
Right.
but we would like to see some progress.
yes, we would.
And so if you join us next week, hit the like button. We need your help. Share us on Facebook. Share us on Twitter. We'd like, if you liked our message, if you think our message is share worthy,
Yes.
share it, please. We would like to get out and talk to people. So God bless you guys.
Have a good day and a good week.